to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. You know what I haven't done for a while? I haven't done a review of AEW Dynamite in quite some time, so tonight seems about as good a night as any. AEW Dynamite, we're a couple weeks away from Double or Nothing, our next pay-per-view. We start off with Hangman Adam Page cutting a promo in the ring where he's talking about the journey he's been on over the last 2 years, and the crowd is really behind him. By the way, once again, another great venue for AEW, another hot crowd for AEW. Good to see it. And he mentions that he's going to be facing Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing in the finals of the Owen Hart tournament, which brings out Ospreay. Ospreay, again, a guy who, those of us who watched him in New Japan knew he was capable of cutting promos, and here's another decent promo from Will Ospreay as he talks about how much he and the fans have all watched Hangman on his journey. He loves the fact that Hangman found his smile again. And there's one problem. Will Ospreay has been doing all the things to be the lead character. It's funny he calls it that because that's what I call it. Will Ospreay is the lead character, in my opinion, in AEW right now. He's been doing the appearances. He's been doing the signings. He's been doing all of the work in the ring to make it the place that can honestly be called where the best wrestle, while Hangman's been tearing up stuff and retiring his mentors. So they have a bit of a conflict in the ring, but bring out Don Callis. I'm glad to see that the crowds are back now to booing over Don Callis to the point where you can barely hear him talk. And Don Callis is like, hey, Ospreay, you're an idiot. Ever since you left the Don Callis family, you don't even know who you're in the ring with. You're in the ring with a psychopath, a sociopath, he called him. And there is a difference. And you guys can't even get along. Ospreay tries to say, look, the two of us will take on any of the two of your guys. He puts his hand on Hangman, and I think Hangman missed the cue to so Ospreay had to do the line again. Fortunately, the crowd was talking over top of it anyway, so it didn't look that bad. But Hangman grabs Ospreay's arm and says, wait, don't touch me and don't speak for me. And the two of them start facing off, and Callis is stirring the pot. And he's like, all right, next week at Beach Break, which next week's Dynamite looks like it's going to be an awesome show, two members of the Don Callis family, probably going to be Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta, will take on Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay in the tried and true tradition of can they coexist before their big match. Don't mind it. It's not anything innovative, but it is the first time. And Ospreay brought this up. It's actually kind of amazing. All the years I watched the two of these guys who've been in the same company more times than they haven't been through most of their careers, and they've never had a match or never spoken to each other. They never had any kind of angle together, which is amazing. But we are going to get it now, and I expect that one to be a banger because it's Hangman Page and Will Ospreay. If you don't know them, you're not familiar with them, just check it out. These guys are pretty damn good. We then move and transition into the card for the night, and then this smoothly transitions. But I'm loving this from AEW. The first segment here, they went through like a couple of different things, and the transitions were a lot smoother than they've been in the past. We come back, and Tony Schiavone and Excalibur and Taz are running down the night, and here comes Stokely Hathaway along with FTR. Stokely and FTR are still ticked off at Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness for talking smack about them, throwing shade on Collision. Stokely gets in Schiavone's face, pushes him. Schiavone goes up. Now, Schiavone could definitely take Stokely. Schiavone, I'm waiting to see that. I don't think I've ever seen Tony Schiavone. I don't think he's ever been in an angle where he actually ever hit anybody that I can remember offhand. I know JR's done it. I know a lot of the other announcers have done it. I've never seen Schiavone do that. I want Schiavone to do it. Just hit Stokely. Just hit him. Please do it. FTR gets in the way, though, and they announce that they're going to be on Collision, which will be airing on Thursday this week again because of all the preemptions, because of other sports shows that are appearing on the Turner Broadcasting Network. So FTR will be on Collision tomorrow. Nigel and Tony will be commentating. So it gives you something to look forward to Collision to see what possibly could happen. And a rivalry that I'm not sure where it's actually going as far as a match is concerned, but I am entertained by it, so I can't complain too much. We get Harley Cameron and Anna Jay, who are now TNA. tenacity and aggression and tits and ass too. I like their little duo. Harley Cameron is so good at what she does with these interviews because she's got that crazy voice and she's nutty, and her and Anna Jay and the fat ass and everything else. The AEW women's division, I'll say this about them, they do not shy away from the fact that they are women, and they can talk about sexuality of women in an unabashed manner. I think we need more of that in the world. The girls can be just as crass as the dudes, and I think it's awesome. So thank you to Harley Cameron as they walk off. The match begins. It's an eliminator match between Thunder Rosa, Anna Jay, Penelope Ford, and the AEW Women's World Champion, the timeless one, Toni Storm, who, for her own right, can be a little raunchy. And you saw that in this match, as during this eliminator match, Toni Storm has a pin attempt and a bridge, and Penelope Ford kicks her square into JJ. I don't think I've ever seen that in a wrestling match before. And Taz is on commentary going, I guess that hurts. I don't know. We have different equipment down there, which probably is pissing off some woke person somewhere, but whatever. And this is making me laugh already. This first segment of Dynamite, I was kind of like lukewarm into it, but this first segment, I was like, you know what? I want to review this show tonight because I'm already thoroughly entertained by everything I've seen so far in the show. So let's see if AEW can keep it up for the rest of the night. Toni Storm does win this match, thus eliminating all three of these women from being able to challenge her for the championship. She's been doing a bunch of these eliminator matches over the past couple of weeks. She's basically clearing out all of her challengers. So the question comes, who is going to be challenging Toni Storm, if anybody, at Double or Nothing? Because the world champions right now, both her and Moxley, are not booked for that show to defend their championships. Moxley's going to be facing Samoa Joe next week in a steel cage match for the AEW championship, which I can't wait for that one. That should actually be good. And Toni Storm is waiting for because they're both waiting for the winners of the Owen Hart tournament to go up against at All In. So there's a lot of moving parts here. It does feel like in this occasion, AEW has planned this out. So it's not them just randomly throwing stuff against the walls. It doesn't feel that way to me. So I'm kind of waiting to see what the plan is after next week, because they're definitely going to have to start unveiling it, and it's probably going to make a lot more sense. Not that it's like nonsensical, but we're going to see what the plan is, because clearly they've got something up their sleeve. I'm not sure what it is, but we'll see after next week. MJF tried to prove himself once again to the Hurt Business and Bobby Lashley. I like this ongoing weekly segment where we learn a little bit more. This week, he did beat up somebody. He did hurt somebody to show Bob that he was worthy of being in a Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley smiling. Bobby Lashley's got the whitest teeth I've ever seen in my life. He's smiling at MJF and said he'll give him his answer next week. So we'll see how that goes. MJF later on confronts Will Ospreay as we're still trying to figure out what All In's going to be. Ospreay, again, talking to Renee Paquette in the background. They're doing some really interesting places where they're shooting these backstage segments, by the way. And the two of them getting in a little bit of a verbal barb. So I guess we're going to get a rematch of that at some time in the near future. Maybe, possibly. Nick Wayne. Victim of the most passive-aggressive angle in all of wrestling. He comes out to the ring. This is the thing they're doing now. He'll come out to his entrance, and before the ring announcer can even say his name, Christian Cage's music plays. And Christian just sucks all the air out of the room. He's facing Rhyno, who is a Detroit native. They were in Detroit this week. For the TV championship, the Ring of Honor TV championship. Nick Wayne won the match. The crowd chanted BS because it was kind of a BS way. Nick Wayne should not have beaten Rhyno the way he did, but it's understandable for the storyline. And afterwards, Nick Wayne wants his TV championship. Christian Cage is holding it, looking at it fondly, goes to hand it to Nick Wayne and just drops it on the mat and then leaves the ring. I do love this angle. This angle has to stop now because Nick Wayne is going to be heading over for the next couple weeks to New Japan to wrestle in Best of the Super Juniors, which is going to be pretty cool. So if you guys don't know and you're an AEW fan who doesn't follow my channel before, I cover New Japan and AEW and WWE, so I will have an update about what's going on in the Best of the Super Juniors with Nick Wayne, so feel free to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified about that. Other things going on in this show, I have to say that the Young Bucks get so much crap, but their matches over the last couple weeks on Dynamite have been absolutely fantastic. The crowds are into them. They're well laid out. They're well planned. They're well performed. And once again, they're here teaming up with Ricochet. And they treat Ricochet kind of like a stepson or something like that. They're all buddy-buddy with him, but they let him get beat up in most of the match. They're taking on a team of Swerve Strickland, who Ricochet has history with, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe. Probably one of the best matches of the night. These multi-man tags that they have here are always fun. It reminds me, again, I'm a New Japan fan, of the multi-man tags that the Bucks would have back in New Japan back in the day that were always... They always had the most entertaining multi-man tag matches in New Japan. Something that happened before this, though, as they were cutting a promo in the segment backstage for this match, the Young Bucks talked to Kazuchika Okada, who's got a match tonight. They talked to Ricochet, and then they went to go in their office, and sitting in their office in the dark are Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. Marina Shafir slams the door, so little mystery going on as this alliance between the two factions has been hinted at for a while, maybe getting another step in that pretty soon. Of course, Samoa Joe, remember next week, World Championship in the cage. Are the Bucks going to get involved? We'll have to see that. The Bucks did manage to get the win in the six-man tag with Matt Jackson getting a cradle pin on Swerve Strickland out of nowhere. All the flippy shit that they did in the match, and it was a inside cradle that got the win, and Swerve looked perplexed. But I think there'll be more to this. Again, I don't know where this is going because Swerve doesn't have a tag partner just yet. Who knows? We'll see where this goes. Kevin Knight had an eliminator match against Kazuchika Okada, the Continental Champion, on this night. But Roosh was a little bit ticked off. I did notice tonight, too, they're pulling in a lot of stuff that they do on Collision and having it transfer over to Dynamite and carry over to Dynamite, which is a good idea. Roosh beat him up pretty bad before the match with Okada, Mike Bailey. I came to make the save because the only person who was trying to help out poor Kevin Knight was the worst security guard in pro wrestling history, but it didn't stop the match from happening. Good spot here, babyface underdog story for Kevin Knight. I think it definitely is helping him out. I do like this coalition with him and Speedball and Mark Briscoe and those guys. Since the conglomeration is no more. Okada, he took the advantage here as he would, and Okada being heel in AEW is always pays off every single week. He is still a great wrestler, but this was one of his cruising matches where he was kind of in cruise control. He did beat Kevin Knight with the Rainmaker, then try to deliver more Rainmakers until there was Speedball again making a run in, and I guess we're getting Roosh and Speedball next week. And eventually, I guess Okada will be taking on Speedball Mike Bailey as well, which then all led us into the Hurt Business. Yeah, they're getting a lawyer. They get lawyered up for some reason we're going to find out in the future. But the main event, Samoa Joe and Claudio Castagnoli of the Death Riders. In this preliminary match before the big main event next week, the steel cage match for the championship. Joe dominated Castagnoli a little bit more than I think Castagnoli should have been dominated in this match, but that's okay because Joe's the one going for the world title. Doesn't really matter. Joe does get the win with the Coquina Clutch. There's a lot of run-ins and everything else. It was a cool way to end the show. And another AEW Dynamite is in the books. Again, I enjoyed this show. It flew by, too. It was, I don't know if it's just a combination of the pacing or the way that they're stringing the segments together. I think it was a good stuff. It was good stuff tonight. Of course, everybody's going to have their complaints about it, but I think overall, AEW Dynamite as a show, as a wrestling show, has much improved over the last couple of weeks. The crowds are a lot better. The venues, they're doing some different stuff with the backstage segments and everything else. These matches the Young Bucks have been having in these six-man tags and Mike Bailey and all them, really good stuff. I like the ongoing angles with Christian and his passive-aggressive thing with Nick Wayne. And this whatever's going on with Swerve and the Young Bucks, and of course my favorite one right now has to be the Hurt Business and MJF. I'm really want to see where that's going. But I want to know what you guys think. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Did you watch AEW Dynamite this week? What did you think about it? Where do you think this is all going? If you like this video and want to see other videos like this, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell. Be sure to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, wherever you talk about pro wrestling. I'll see you guys here for more news, rumors, and reviews on a Rant and Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.